If you're looking for a compact vlogging camera without spending a fortune, there are still some really capable options out there. We're talking 4K video, strong stabilization, better sensors, flip or rotating screens, wireless microphone support, and even cameras that can disappear into your pocket. So we've picked out several of the most interesting budget-friendly options and broken down what each one actually brings to the table. Prices can move around quite a bit, so we'd focus more on the overall value than a specific sale price, and we'll provide the updated price and purchase links down in the description. Let's get started. Starting with the camera we'd put at the top of the list for most people, we have the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. This one really hits that sweet spot between being genuinely pocketable and still feeling like a proper camera. We're getting a 1-inch CMOS sensor, 4K video up to 120 frames per second, and most importantly, a 3-axis mechanical gimbal. That gimbal is a big part of what makes the Pocket 3 so useful for vlogging, because we can simply start walking and talking without the footage looking like we're holding a camera on a stick. DJI also gives us a 2-inch rotatable touchscreen, so switching between horizontal and vertical shooting is really straightforward. There's also Active Track 6.0 and fast autofocus, which is especially useful when we're filming ourselves and don't have someone behind the camera. And honestly, that combination is why we like the Pocket 3 so much. It's small enough that we're actually willing to carry it, but the 1-inch sensor and gimbal give us a lot more room to work with than a typical pocket camera. For creators who want more control over the footage, the Pocket 3 also supports 10-bit D-Log-M and HLG. And when it comes to audio, we get stereo recording along with support for DJI Mic 2 and DJI Mic Mini. That makes the Pocket 3 feel much more like a complete content creation tool rather than just a tiny camera that happens to shoot 4K. If the Pocket 3 is a little more than you want to spend, the XTRA Muse is an interesting alternative from the information we have here. We're getting a 1-inch sensor, 4K 120 FPS recording, a 3-axis mechanical gimbal, and a 2-inch touchscreen with horizontal and vertical shooting modes. There's also smart tracking and background blur functionality, and some packages include a mini tripod. The important thing here is that the XTRA Muse isn't simply another tiny camera. The combination of a larger 1-inch sensor and a real mechanical gimbal is what makes it interesting for vloggers. We can get smoother walking footage while still having the sensor size to handle more challenging lighting than many smaller cameras. The trade-off is that DJI has a much more established app, accessory ecosystem, and track record. So if we're planning to use the camera for years, that's something we'd keep in mind. Now, if our biggest priority isn't traditional vlogging, but being able to put a camera basically anywhere, that changes things quite a bit. This little camera weighs just 53 grams and uses a 1/1.28-inch sensor, so it's still small enough that we can basically forget it's there. It records up to 4K 60 FPS and gives us a 156-degree field of view, which is useful for POV and action-style footage. And the real advantage is the mounting system. We can put the Go Ultra on a hat, shirt, bag, or other compatible surface and capture footage without holding a camera at all. That makes it especially useful for travel, cycling, family content, behind-the-scenes footage, and those first-person shots that would be difficult with the Pocket 3. We also get features like active HDR, pure video for low light shooting, free frame video, slow motion, time-lapse, and loop recording. So despite the tiny size, it's not just a novelty camera. It gives us quite a bit of flexibility depending on how we want to create. The Insta360 Go Ultra isn't necessarily the camera we'd choose when maximum image quality is the only goal, but for POV footage, travel, lifestyle content, and situations where holding a camera would just get annoying, it's hard to beat the convenience. And that's really the selling point here. We can capture footage from a perspective that would be difficult with a conventional camera, and we don't have to think about carrying a larger setup around. Speaking of cameras that are built for a little more abuse, we also have the DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro. This one takes a completely different approach from the Pocket 3. Instead of a mechanical gimbal, we're getting electronic stabilization. But we're also getting a much tougher body, dual OLED touchscreens, and waterproofing down to 20 meters without the waterproof case. The camera uses a 1.3-inch sensor and can record 4K at up to 120 FPS, while DJI also gives us rock-steady stabilization, horizon steady options, subject tracking, and a super night mode. That makes the Action 5 Pro a much better fit if our idea of vlogging involves hiking, biking, off-roading, skiing, swimming, or basically anything where we don't want to baby the camera. DJI also rates the battery for up to 4 hours under its specified test conditions, and there's 64 gigabytes of built-in storage with additional microSD support. So while we wouldn't pick it over the Pocket 3 purely for walking and talking footage, it becomes a much more compelling option once durability and outdoor use enter the picture. Another camera worth looking at is the Insta360 Ace Pro 2. This one is built more like a traditional action camera, but the 2.5-inch flip touchscreen makes it particularly useful for vloggers. We can flip that screen around for self-recording, while the 1.3-inch 8K sensor and Leica Summit lens are designed to give us strong image quality, especially when the lighting isn't perfect. The Ace Pro 2 can record 8K at 30 FPS and 4K at up to 120 FPS. There's also pure video for low light recording, flow state stabilization, and 360-degree horizon lock. The dual AI chip design handles imaging and processing separately, which is one of the reasons Insta360 has been able to push the image processing and low light performance so hard in this camera. And because this is still an action camera, we get the rugged side of things too. The Ace Pro 2 is waterproof to 12 meters without a case, the lens guard is removable, and Insta360 has added an integrated wind guard to help with audio. So for someone who wants a camera that can handle outdoor use but still gives us a proper flip screen for vlogging, this is a pretty strong combination. Then there's the DJI Osmo 360, which is a completely different kind of option. Instead of trying to give us the most traditional vlogging experience, it lets us capture 360-degree footage and decide on the framing later. That can be really useful for travel creators because we don't have to worry quite as much about getting the perfect composition while we're actually shooting. We can capture everything and choose the angle afterward. For someone who likes experimenting with different perspectives, that flexibility can be worth more than having a conventional forward-facing camera. So, if we had to narrow all of these down, the Pocket 3 is still the one we'd start with for traditional everyday vlogging because of that 1-inch sensor, mechanical gimbal, rotating screen, fast autofocus, tracking, and strong audio support. If we want hands-free POV footage, the Go Ultra makes more sense. And if we're primarily shooting outdoors, the Action 5 Pro gives us the ruggedness, waterproofing, stabilization, and battery life that make it much easier to take the camera anywhere. The Ace Pro 2 is a great middle ground if we want strong image quality, a flip screen, and action camera durability, and the XTRA Muse is worth looking at if the main goal is getting that larger sensor and gimbal experience while spending less. At this point, we really don't need a huge camera setup to make good content. The best option is simply the one that fits the way we actually shoot. That was all for today. We'll see you in the next one.